Hey everyone, it's Melissa from Sincerely Creative Mom. Today we're going to make, this is going to be a two-part video. So if you're watching part one, you can be watching it almost anywhere. The part two will be strictly in the Mel's method class. It's a pricing class that I'm holding. After the class is over, it will be available on replay if you're interested. So we're going to do the design here today. And in the Mel's Method class, part two will be available. We're talking about buying wholesale, what that looks for your pricing. Everybody talks about wholesale. And I had some good experience and some bad experience. And so I'm going to share those thoughts with you and my journey along the way. Right now, right here, we're going to make a really quick design. It's four ingredients, well, 5 if you include the bow. But this is one of my very favorite sprays, and we're just gonna really just pull it apart and just give it some life and make it look alive. I love that this piece has like 3 kind of major components to it, kind of just like the 60919. We have one here, one there, and then one there. I love this piece. It grows so big. You guys make sure that you're touching every little piece when you are purchasing. So we have that one, and we have this one. We're going to do the same thing. Pull this all apart, pull those eggs out, kind of string out our little coils here. Even spread that apart as much as you can. Spray it. And I like to make those a little bit bigger. Just uncoil those a little bit, just so they're not too in there together. Okay, and then same for this little guy. Look at how cute. Alright, so really easy. Just making sure I'm in camera here. Really easy. I'm just going to set this one kind of on top here. Make sure that that kind of still comes out. We can still see this guy. And then we're going to set it right on top here. Kind of just part our ways, so that this piece can kind of lay right on top of it, and oh, come on, and we can pull those pieces through. So I'm going to set that right kind of on top, making sure that the center of all of those touch each other. I forgot these guys. There we go. So before I start moving things around, I'm going to set these in here kind of like in a triangle, so that the 2 that we put on top are kind of evenly spaced across the top of that bottom, and we can pull it really tight. If you're looking for any of the tools I use, such as this, you can find it in my blog. If you just go to melslinks.com, it has everything there. It has the pricing class, it has my blog, my website, our Etsy shop for kits. It has everything you need, our text number, how to join our email address, all of those things. Alright, so from here I want to pull some of that greenery up. Not that I want to hide anything, but I want to pull some of that to the front. So those big things will show through for sure. They're not going to get hidden too much. Make it a nice, fun piece spread out all over the place. Alright, look at that. That's pretty easy. Alright, this is too long, so I'm going to cut these. Just going to use my stem cutter. Let it kind of be my muscle for me. Kind of cuts really easy that way. And surprise, surprise, just to make this a little bit faster, I already have the other one set. It's exactly the same. You guys, in the pricing class, we're going to talk about what it looks like when you purchase, as far as costs, how you should price, and I'll give you some tips on how and why I will or will not be buying wholesale in the future. Okay, nice big base here. This is one of those 20-inch moss bases. It's beautiful. I imagine it would be really cute if you're doing some florals and you know, all sorts of things. I just decided to go with fun and whimsy and just use this as a backdrop because I did buy it wholesale. You know, things might look a little bit different as far as pricing, cost. So I'm just going to take these. Now, let's talk about these for a second. You guys know, if you follow me for any length of time, you know I love the bundles. So if you put these on top of each other, look at what a cute swag that would be. Put a bow up here, attach these two pieces together. Look how cute, fun, easy, and quick, right? If you put them side by side like we're going to do them side by side. And so I'm going to wire that up a little bit so it gets out of my way here. We're going to attach those as closely as we can. We're going to attach those as closely as we can. And we're going to do that with some zip ties. I'm just going to add two together because I can never remember to buy the long ones. And let's see if we can't get that on the other, there we go, on the other side of that little thing so we can push it up even closer together. Get it as close as we possibly can. And I'm just going to use our little tool here to make it as tight as possible since my little hands will not let me do that. There we go. So just one will usually work, but we're going to do two just to be sure. So sometimes people have a big misconception on what wholesale is, why you do it, and all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to myth bust and talk turkey and all those things in our pricing class. I'm just going underneath here. Let me make sure I'm going the right way. I'm just going to go underneath here and attach. You see how this is kind of far out from the rest of that spine. I'm just going to take this, since this is going against the moss base, I'm not worried about having those zip ties kind of sticking out. So I'm just going to make sure I get them really, really tight. Again, coming in there with this little tool. There we go. It just pulls it really tight. It's just tighter than I can get my little fingers to do. And we'll do one more on the other side. So this piece being so big, so wide, and so many pieces here, 3 nice big chunky sprays. We're going to make sure this is nice and secured, but I want to show you before we put it in there one more way you could use it instead of a wreath. So again, I'm just gonna nice and tight here. There we go. All right. So one way you could use this is as a table spray. Look at how pretty that is. We're going to use a 1.5 inch. We're going to make it kind of, well, let's make this kind of longer. And then this will be nice and big. We'll do 3 loops here. 2. I'm just going to twist it. Nice big loop. Now, big loop, because it's a big bow. It's a big piece. So we're going to do 3 loops on each side for this piece. Just always twisting it. Now, even though that ribbon is very similar on both sides, I still wanted to make sure that we were twisting. Sometimes that stitching can be a little different on each side, and so you want to make sure that the pretty side always stays good. All right, we have about a 28-inch tail, and we have approximately 7-inch loops. So when we talk about pricing and we talk about measurements and stuff, we'll want to know that for sure. All right, so then, nice, big, fluffy, wonderful. Why not with the cute bunnies? We want to make sure that this is going to be about 27 inches as well, so that no matter what we decide, it will it'll be ready for us. Nice big center loop for us. Now, we said the last one was 7 inches to start. This is going to be about 4.5, and then we'll go about 5 inches for the rest of the loops. Or maybe 6, or 5.5. Okay, so we'll do 2 loops, not including that center. So this ribbon has a clear front and back, very clear front and back. So we're going to make sure we're always twisting, okay? Because if I bring that loop up again, it's going to be backwards. We don't want it to be backwards. So I'm always just going to twist it so I can see that front side. So now we have 2 loops on each side, and because we have that center loop, the tails are both going to be on the same side, but it's okay. All right, so we're going to take this off of here and add this right to the top. Now, not too many ribbons. I don't want it to really compete too much with that really pretty swag kind of we have going on. So crisscross, twist, twist. I am going to dovetail these ends. I'm just going to fold it, cut on the fold up to the edge. Get rid of that ribbon. So these scissors are probably the sharpest scissors I've ever had ever. You guys, your designs don't have to be elaborate every single time. Have a quick recipe that you go to often. It can be often. So now, what we're going to do, if this was just sitting on the table, this would be perfect. We're just going to take that center. So you could, if it was going on a table, you would take these tails and kind of loop them on each side. Because it's going in the wreath, we want them to all come down to one side instead of both sides. I'm going to take those tails, where'd it go? There it is, and bring it to one side. And let me just see which way that looks better here. So without fluffing it around, without fluffing it out or anything, I think we might go that side. It's fine. All right, so I'm going to take this and just add it right to the center. Add this pipe cleaner right to the center here. These long tails, kind of get it in there. Okay, nice and tight. Now remember, this side is going to end up against that moss base, so I'm not worried that these are pokey. It's going to be totally fine. Okay, and I'm not even worried about hiding that, but it is a little excessive, so we're going to cut off most of it. Set it down nicely like this. Okay, and then to attach it, so I'm going to use wire. Now, one wire wasn't long enough because I tried it beforehand. So we're going to put 2 wires together. I know that looks crazy. It's all right. We're gonna make it look really pretty. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. We have 2 thin, I'm not sure what gauge they are, but they're thinner. And I'm just going to crisscross and then twist them together so that they don't come loose. So instead of just taking 2 and winding them together, I do that crisscross first, so I know it's not gonna go anywhere. All right, now we're gonna take this before we fluff out our bow because it looks nuts. We're gonna take this and we're gonna secure 2 spots. Okay, remember that spine that we created and those zip ties that we put on either end here and here? We're gonna take these wires, instead of going right in the center, we're gonna secure it around the base and around about right here. It's just going to be underneath all of what's going on, so it's going to look a little crazy here for a minute, and we're going to be bending it, move it around, and all this stuff. So I'm just going to slide this right through, go around the full base. Oopsie. Around the full base. Get it nice and tight to secure to that moss. It's so cute. Okay, take not my scissors, clip off that. So notice we haven't used any glue. No glue, not necessary. So just to make it easier for my hands, I made it 2. Technically, one of these wires would have went around the whole thing, but it was going to make me work for my money, and I don't like to do that. I like to not worry that it's going to just fit. I want it to make sure it fits. There we go. So around the whole base. And I use the wire for a couple reasons. 1, it's very sturdy. Number 2, you're not going to see it. Number 3, I'm not worried, again, it's not glue. I'm not worried that it's going to come apart and, you know, release and all those things. I don't have to worry about that either. So I just have my 2 trusty wires there. No one's going to see it. It's going to blend right in. It's not going to hurt the back of us. So from here, still looks like a crazy mess. I know it does. See? Hold on just a second. I move that out of the way. Okay. So from here, looks like a crazy mess. All right, I'm going to turn it upside down so I can reach it and not reach over. It's a nice big design here. We're not going to let loose on any of the things. We're going to make sure all this stuff kind of gets where it needs to be. I'm going to spread that bow out. And those, these things that are really long on the top, we're going to actually cut those. They don't have to be that big. Just because they are that long doesn't mean they have to stay that long. We certainly don't want to lose any of those eggs. That's the word I was looking for. So make sure that those come out and you can see them. All right. The thing is, look at that. One is going the right way, one is not, and I am not afraid to snip that off because that's going to drive me crazy. We have one bunny going the right way and we have our plaids. cut off, I know we cut off a lot of that, but it's going to look better just like that. All right, now we get to just shape it because we don't want it to just look like it's sticking out. Just shape it a little bit. So I'm okay with these being long because they kind of come in here. But let's trim these up. Let's give it a little bit of haircut. Make sure that floral is coming out all the ways. This is darling. So because remember, these are bendable, so I'm going to take advantage of that and make sure that we kind of get those spikies kind of coming up in a different way. And then just cut off a couple extras. Now, could you add more? Sure. If you really wanted to, you could. Well, I'm not going to tell you no. More is never, I don't think, a bad idea. And I know sometimes people say less is more, but sometimes more is more too. That's fine. This is darling. Okay. Easy breezy. Easy breezy. So we're going to talk about in our Mel's Method class, I'm going to just zoom this in here. In our Mel's Method class, we're going to talk about, get all this out of the way so you could see it just that a little bit better. Look at how cute. And I can see it a little bit better. We're going to talk about just buying retail and versus what that looks like, especially with this particular design, what that looks like versus buying wholesale. What that could look like for your business, how it could be good, how it could be bad. Not saying that buying wholesale is always the best thing. I'm not even saying it is the best thing. I'm saying we're going to just give and talk about options and, you know, let you make your own decisions. So again, if you're joining us for the Mel's Method class live, it is February 27th and 28th and March 1st. February 27th and 28th are, the first day is conversation, the second day is calculation, the third day is Q&A. You'll have, if you're in the Mel's Method class, you'll have this available also as the tutorial as part 1 for the creative part, and then again part 2 will be the part where we are really going through and talking about price and costing it out. Y'all, thank you very much for joining. I hope that you enjoyed this class. I hope that you followed along. I hope that you were inspired. I hope that all those things. And even if you're not in the Mel's Method class, I hope that you'll be subscribing and following us for all of our tutorials in the future. Bye, y'all.